everywhere a sign. Today, I want to talk about listening to spirit. Let's go. So, I'm going to tell you 3 crazy stories about asking for signs and receiving signs. I believe that asking for signs is a wonderful way to receive messages from spirit, from your higher power, whatever it is that you call it. But I think that there are some prerequisites before asking. So first, before asking for a sign, you need to make sure that you are in a place to receive it. What I mean by that is that your mind isn't already made up. If you already have your mind made up, there's no use in asking for a sign because you're just going to create more evidence to support your decision. I believe that spirit is always around us and is always ready to help us in any situation, but it must be invited in. We have free will, and if you want guidance, you're going to have to ask for it. You're going to have to welcome it into your life. The way I like to do that is by centering myself, finding a good quiet time and place to just sit, close my eyes, and say a prayer of surrender. And what I mean by that is praying for the highest good for anyone and everyone involved in the situation. And really meaning that whatever the answer may be, whatever the outcome is, I'm going to accept it and go with it, and I'm going to make the best out of it. So believing in signs isn't just believing in coincidence or serendipity even. It's truly believing that you are living a guided life and that you have faith in something that is really taking care of you. So much faith that you can just let go of the will and surrender. So when you ask for a sign, you need to make sure it's not something that you're going to see all the time, that it's something random, something rare and unusual, something specific. So instead of asking to see a tabby cat, I would ask to see an orange tabby cat wearing a blue tie, eating some bread. Something to where if you saw it, you would have no doubt that that is your sign. So my first example, my first story is a really awesome one. In 2017, I had finally decided that I needed to get sober, and I was one of those people who had to ask around for several years if I had a problem. Should I do this? Is this too extreme? And so when I finally decided that I should do it, I asked for a sign because it was a really big decision in my life. And I remember I was living off of a street that every time I passed it to get to the freeway, I would see 2222. And it was a really big sign. And I'm really big on numbers being signs, and different sets of numbers have different meanings for me. That's a part of my language in the way that I communicate with the universe. So I saw 222 and I thought, okay, 2222. God, that's gonna be my sign. If this is what I'm supposed to do, please show it to me. So I remember I was going to a film festival that weekend, and it was also going to be my birthday on the Monday that I would be driving back home. I had told myself, well, I think that I'm going to get sober on my birthday. That way, for the rest of my life, the older I get, I can have something to celebrate and something to feel great about. Not just, oh, I'm a year older, but I also am a year stronger. So I was in Shreveport, Louisiana at the film festival, and I remember a friend and I went to the grocery store. I was putting up the shopping cart as we left, and I kid you not, there was 2222 written on like a little note, or it was just so random, and it was on the shopping cart, and I had told no one about my sign. Trust me when I say that the friends that I was with certainly didn't want me to stop drinking. So I saw that, and my mind was just blown, and I knew then and there, okay, this is what I have to do, and I did it. And I've been sober ever since, and I can honestly say that it is the gift that keeps on giving, and that I would have nothing, I would have none of this if I didn't have my sobriety. Story number 2. A few years later, I was still in Houston, which is where I got sober, and I knew that as happy as I was living in Houston, I needed to get back to work. And there wasn't a film and television industry here. So I knew that I had to go somewhere where I could audition again and get back to work. Well, I had a partner at the time who really wanted to move to LA. And I had lived in LA a few times before, and I just knew in my heart that it was wrong for me. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to start all over. And I knew in my heart, as much as I didn't want this to be true, I knew I was supposed to move back to New Orleans. I just knew it. But I was willing to give LA a shot, and we decided to take a trip out there to even see and feel the vibe and see what it would be like and if it would be possible. And I decided I was going to set up a sign for each city that we were considering moving to. So I can't really remember what my LA sign was. All I remember is it had something to do with the sun and some other random things. So it was our last day in LA, and things were going well, but I could still tell this isn't it. But I was really waiting on a sign before I made a decision. And on the last day there, we were driving down a road, and I just was so exhausted from the search and from thinking about things. And I just was like, I grabbed my partner's hand and I said, "Please, just show me any sign." And I kid you not, about 5 seconds later, we're driving down the road and a car pulls in front of us, and it has a New Orleans Saints bumper sticker. And I just thought, oh my God, there it is. There's the sign. But it wasn't the sign I had asked for about moving to New Orleans. So fast forward a little bit, we get back home to Texas. My relationship is really rocky at that time, and I decide I need to at least go to New Orleans and check out the situation, see if I can get a sublet. I remember I looked on Craigslist, and I had been looking, and immediately there was a posting that wasn't even an hour old about a sublet, and it was in the same area that I used to live in. So I thought, well, this is obvious. I need to jump on this opportunity. So I went to New Orleans and spent the weekend there and realized that this place is going to work out, and I needed to take the opportunity. So I came back home. I'm talking to my partner at the time, and we're talking things through, and I let them know that, hey, I've made this decision and I know that this is best for me, so I'm going either way. And that day earlier, I had cleaned out my niece's room, and she had a bunch of toys that she had outgrown, and we were donating them. And I found this book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Jack Canfield, right? It's a word search book. Of course, it's Jack Canfield. I saw it, and I was like, I love word search. So I just remember I grabbed it, and it was in my room. And during the conversation when I was talking to my ex, I was saying, I'm going, you can come with me, but either way, I just know that this is the right decision for me. And I looked down, and I kid you not, I see the red bird and the blue bird, which was the sign for New Orleans. And so I knew I had to go. And my relationship didn't work out, but I know that I gained so much from going to New Orleans, and in my career learning about directing and writing and producing. And I also met my life partner there. So this third story is really wild. It happened recently and I still don't know why it happened, what's going to come out of it. I just know that when I receive a sign from the universe, I listen. So recently I decided that I was going to stop auditioning and acting so that I could focus solely on building Soul Hugger. Everything's been going great. But I forgot that I was still on a website where casting directors can contact actors either through their agents or directly to you. I received an audition from a really, really sweet, awesome casting director who is just so kind and full of light and really hard to say no to. And so I check out the project, and the role is for a Native American woman, which I really like, and the name is Hialeah. So it's a name that I've never seen before, ever. And the show is called Panhandle, okay? Like Florida, Panhandle. So I'm like, I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to read the sides to see what the scenes are, and maybe I want to do it, but I'm feeling a little embarrassed because I want to commit to my decision. I want to just focus on this and leave that behind me. So I decided to go out into the kitchen and talk to my partner and say, hey, I got this audition that I kind of want to read the sides for. I'm feeling a little embarrassed. But I go into the kitchen and I notice on the kitchen table is a package. And I'm like, oh, his gift came in. So I pick up the package and I look at the label and it's from Florida. And I was like, huh, but it's from Hialeah, Florida. What? So I freak out and I decide I have to do this audition now. So I did it, but I have no idea what's to come out of it. Maybe it is just, hey, this was a coincidence, but just from knowing the universe's track record and how much I've been guided in my life and how well taken care of I am, if I see a sign like that, I'm going to listen. So I hope that this encourages you to listen and see the magic in your life. And you can do this in several ways. For me, I can close my eyes and just see the first thing I see that is pretty random and just go with that. Another thing that I do is I consider seeing feathers on the ground signs as just an encouraging sign of saying, hey, you're going in the right direction. Pennies, I actually take coins to a whole nother level. So pennies are angels just saying that they're there for me. A nickel is just like, oh, you're gonna get like a little bit of cash luck. A dime is pretty good money coming my way. And then when I say a quarter, I get super excited because that's at least in the thousands. And I'm telling you, it works. I believe that you can create your own language with the universe and with your spirit guides, your angels, your ancestors, whatever it is that you feel in your heart, whoever is out there helping you, but you have to invite them in. And it's very easy to talk to spirit and to pray and to talk to God and the universe. But how we listen and how we receive these signs and these messages are very important. And I believe that you can receive the messages from people, from actual signs, from things. Use the physical world and the physical elements around you to listen and communicate with your guides. Ever since I started believing in signs, I feel like life has been so magical. And when I decided that rainbows were a sign of angels being around and supporting me, I've seen rainbows on a daily basis in every home that I've lived in since. You really can talk to the universe. You can talk to your spirit guides. You can feel like you are being guided in life, and that is such a great feeling because there is so much out of our control and we have so many questions. We don't always get the answers, but I do believe that if you ask, you will receive guidance.